and then kita pergi directly.
Okay, so let's start with our very first question. On this matter. Where was the question again? Let's start with our very first question. So, if it's okay for you actually to start introducing yourself lah. Let's start with your name first, and then what do you do right now, and the year you graduated. So, your name, what you do now, and the year you graduated.
Okay, hi, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, inshallah. So, literally, my name is Abdurrahman bin Iman, and then most of the lecturer call me as a Rahman Oman. And then I graduated on 2017. 2017, inshallah. And then right now, what I'm doing right now is I'm doing my own established ROS, Registration of Society, with as a pertubuhan kebajikan sedulur. Literally, I'm doing an NGO that which macam try to help more and more related to education. Most of it is related to education, but directly try to make sure that which is unfortunate kids to get a proper education in terms of the stateless undocumented, orang asli, and also urban poor B40 at KL, inshallah. So that's the thing what I'm doing right now. So alhamdulillah, with the God, dengan keiznan Allah SWT juga, then so I already have my school at Sabah. I got two school already. One is Sekolah Saudara Borneo at Lahadatu, which is consists of 200 students, and then another one is at Sekolah Saudara Borneo Pulau Mabul. We also got around 165 students, and then I do have a teachers from undocumented and stateless also, which is macam I got 9 already teachers there. That which is I run properly from Selayang right now. My office is at Selayang. So yeah, inshallah. So and also I do a charity work and education also for SPM candidates at KL. In almost 5 years already, I free education to 100 students, which is from April to November. April to November from Selasa, Rabu dan Khamis, every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. That which macam we work with 100 students, and then with a fixed teacher that which macam try to give as much as we can for free education, and then we take the student from the last classes, 4 classes that which macam we do believe that opportunity can change everyone, inshallah.
That's good. That's amazing. And I really admire your work though, because that was actually something that I genuinely wanted to do as well, where before I started my PhD actually. So that's really cool. So you graduated in the year 2017, right? Is that right? Yeah.
Inshallah.
So may I ask you, can you tell me the most memorable thing that you basically experienced during your degree? And then, if possible, also tell me how your degree has prepared you for what you're doing right now.
Okay, in terms of memorable memory that which is macam happened to me at Department of Psychology, I remember that one of our lecturer, I don't want to mention the name, that which is macam the lecturer is okay, this is a paper that which is macam the lecturer hold, and then he tried to tear it everywhere, and then this is you if your pointer is just like some nothing. So that's the most one that is, which is I can remember that which is mentioned that thing hit me a lot, that which is macam I do believe that which is, I'm not the best student, I'm not a one that which is macam can be shoot at the Department of Psychology. Okay, that the moment that which is macam what happened to me. But yeah, I try to 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 stay, actually try to stay. I never wanted to left the Department of Psychology, and then I tried to stay, and then yeah, I finished my study. Yeah, inshallah, I'm finished all my studies, and then that's the bitter one lah. I'm not sure that which is macam that's a memorable right? Yeah, when you want the most memorable one. But and then I learned a lot from Department of Psychology, literally. Although I'm not a good student, I'm not the best student, and then I'm not the excellent student. Yeah, tapi I never said that, which is I'm the stupid one lah. I mean I'm the lowest one. No, I never become like that, because I do believe that which is the knowledge is not just being portrayed by the book or by the result itself, but how we gain the knowledge, and then how we giving back the knowledge itself. So mungkin maybe one of us said that macam those who do well on the paper can do well outside of outside of the world, on the field itself. Literally, I don't think so. Literally, I don't think so. But in terms of that's this is not even a fault from kita punya lecturer. It's not. This is not their fault actually, because I do enter psychology department at the age of 22. That which macam I after my diploma, and then onwards I try to stay at a degree of psychology, and then what happened, I realized that which macam I don't have any kind of interest to learn at that time, actually and literally. But yet, I need to finish my study and to have a degree. And then I really wanted to have a degree of psychology, and then I put as much as I can and effort to make sure that which macam I can finish with my study. And then at the same time, I'm doing my charity work every week, literally every week. I went to charity orang asli, I went to homeless, I went to Sabah, I went to where as a student to finish my study as a psychology student, and then I do my part that which is a part that which is I love, and then I try to mean that to mix it uh what to work with it both side work in psychology, and then to my charity work. I put it at the same place, and then yeah, that's me right now. Inshallah, doing a charity organization.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think personally, I find your story is actually a really good one because I can sort of like, this might be off record, by the way, I might edit this out if you don't want to. But I think you were talking about an experience that probably about 60% of students experience. That is, they're not the best student. They don't get A's,
Yep.
A's. You know, can you imagine 60% of our students feel that, and that could actually affect their self-esteem as well. And when it affects
I
mm,
literally, I always ask to my junior at Department of Psychology, and also my classmate or my batchmate when we sit together after we finish a study. I said to them that which is macam, where is my part that which is macam the student that which is not too excellent in Department of Psychology, not excellent in the paper, and then don't even get a proper pointer. Why they are not even being called? I mean, because we need to have another option that which macam not everyone in Department of Psychology, although he or she is excellent, there might be another field that which is macam she or he can go. Yes, I really know that which macam the objectivity, the mission or the vision to make sure that which is all the students from Department of Psychology to become a researcher, to become a psychologist, to have a proper things that which is macam can bring back to the psychology field. Yes, indeed. But there are different type of student, and then there are different type of field that which is macam the psychology student can go actually. For me, literally. This is maybe this is my own sided opinion. I'm not sure, but to me, that it should be happen. And then the department should call back the student that which macam do have a kind of alternative that which macam not a student become psychology. Then I realize something that which macam not all and not everyone at Department of Psychology that which is had an excellent result
yeah, that's true.
become a psychology.
Yeah.
I'm not sure your best, tapi that's literally on my best. Literally, I do met them. I do met them that which macam, you work as what right now? Oh, I'm working as a teacher. I do have a friend that which macam so much excellent in psychology, but don't even take a master, don't even take a PhD, and work, just work whatever he can get.
Yeah. I think that's a genuine question, and like also like if it was okay for us to discuss on this as well. Uh, there are two aspects to it. First of all, like you know, at the age of 18, first of all, you decided to take psychology, or like like you're very young, you don't know whether psychology is meant for you. So it's possible that on the path, like throughout, you learn something from the psychology degree, but you might think that that's not your career. So education and career is completely two different things. We have this idea whereby your 4 years of degree should be your career path, and then that's it, that's set in stone, when in actuality that might be a completely different case. And then like for psychology especially, I think there's a gap, at least a little bit, in Malaysia, whereby master's degree is not exactly a common culture. Would it not like also like it's sort of like in the next stepping stone that is basically not quite common here. It's not like yet. It's possible that we might get towards that, but it's not really yet here, considering how expensive education can be, especially for a
Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to the esteemed academic members of the department, to our honorable guests, speakers, Madam Aicha, Brother Iman, Karim, Tuan Haire, and to all students. My name is Nurfariha Ramli, and I will be the master of ceremony for our event today. I would like to welcome all of you to our psychology alumni sharing session. It gives us great pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to our alumni sharing session event. Before we proceed to the main agenda, let us all recite Al-Fatiha and seek blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon our event today. Ameen, Ameen, Rabbil Alameen. Without further ado, let's start the part one of our first session titled The Life of Psychology Student. We will begin with the meeting. Our first guest, Madam Aicha Koutoub Sano. Assalamu alaikum, Madam Aicha. How are you doing?
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. I'm doing well, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm good. Right here in the morning, so it's very good morning.
Okay, good morning.
For your information, Madam Aicha graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology in 2016 at IIUM and completed her master's in public health in 2018 at Mahsa University. She is currently pursuing her PhD degree in public health, specializing in epidemiology and biostatistics from the Faculty of Medicine and Health Science, Department of Community Health at UPM. She hosted, organized, and participated in several conferences, workshops, and seminars, both nationally and internationally. She also served as a vice president at WAMI Club at IIUM, and headed the Women's Division for a year. She is the founder and advisor of Psychology Life Annual Conference in IIUM from 2014 until the year 2017. She worked as a teacher and a content creator in both Malaysia and the Republic of Guinea. She is passionate about writing to inspire, thus she has a blog page. That's it for Madam Aicha's introduction. Isn't she very inspiring? I will now ask a few questions to Madam Aicha regarding her experience as a psychology student. First and foremost, would you be able to share your personal experience as a psychology undergraduate with us today?
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Fariha, for the introduction. First of all praise is due to Allah, the Almighty, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, Madam Miza, once again. And thank you all for tuning in. It is a pleasure speaking to you all. For the new intakes, welcome to IIUM. I wish you a very fruitful journey from the beginning to the end, really. So alhamdulillah, I graduated in the year 2016 with a bachelor's, of course, in psychology, like you all know. And during my undergraduate years as a psychology student, the most common question I would get asked by students from other fields of study is, can you read my mind? So it didn't matter which year I was in, but most of the time I tell someone I'm majoring in psychology, they would ask me this question. So I always had to clarify to the students, that in psychology, we study the human mind and its effect on a person's behavior. Hence, we do not read minds. To begin, if you asked me to share my experience with you as a psychology graduate, I'd say where to start, With each psychology course I took, there were plenty of memorable lessons that I learned, really. If I had to merge them together to make them one big memorable lesson, I would say, have faith in yourself, really. This mindset had helped me achieve every single thing I could, of course, with the help of the Almighty as a psychology student. So believing in myself allowed me to understand that the process to success is in my hand, while the outcome to success is in the Almighty's hand. It also helped me organize my study plan and keep focus on my goals. So not forgetting, with the Almighty's strength, I was able to go over the limit with what was holding me back, such as fear, doubts, and more about myself. So with that, I was able to engage in the community and initiate a team which worked on an annual conference about psychology and life. So this conference highlighted the importance in improving the quality of an individual's life with the help of Islamic perspectives. And the conference took place for like 4 consecutive years from the year 2014 to 2017. And I do miss my lecturers whom inspired me with all the psychology knowledge and their wisdom, which I can never repay. May Allah continue to bless them all. And my classmates whom I worked with in group discussions and programs, as I also learned a lot from them. Yeah. Indeed, I have never made it to the finish. I would have never been able to make it to the finishing line without setting an agenda for myself before every semester. So I believe it is very important for me. I believe that it was very important for me to clarify my goal for each subject before I had taken it, because doing that allowed me to persevere and stay resilient, even though it got tough. So since I used to also take part in programs organized by societies within and outside the university, I had to well manage my time the way I had studied in order to make sure that it does not affect my academic performance. Thus, my target for my courses was always at the back of my mind in everything that I did. It was like a promise I made to myself, and I had to fulfill it no matter what happened. Mm.
Thank you, Madam Aicha. Next, the next question, which would be, can you please share with us what did you do after you graduated?
Okay, thank you, Sister Fariha. So right after I graduated, I wanted to further my education. Therefore, I applied for a master's degree. But while waiting for my offer letter, I actually worked as an intern in the Deputy Rector of Internationalization's office in IIUM itself, whereby I assisted in content writing and in organizing programs under the office. Then, Alhamdulillah, I received my offer letter to pursue my master's degree at Mahsa University. But just to highlight, I did my master's in public health. And yes, I took a turn away from the field of psychology. You all may probably be wondering why I took up this field. Well, one of the reasons was I thought about how I could contribute to the current issues in my country, Guinea-Conakry, where I come from. And after doing my research and seeking for advisors, I came into a conclusion that the public health and psychology field were quite compatible. Although public health was a completely new field for me, I decided to take up the challenge and I was excited to learn new things, really.
That's amazing. Thank you, Madam Aicha. It was really brave for you to be able to do something that is out of your profession, and you made it. We are now on to our last question before the next slot. Madam Aicha, would you be able to tell us about your current pursuit of a PhD in a field different from psychology?
Okay, so I'm currently doing my PhD, my doctorate, I'm currently doing my doctorate of philosophy in the field of epidemiology and biostatistics under the Department of Community Health and the Faculty of Medicine and Health Science in University Putra, Malaysia. So one thing that psychology and public health, okay, one thing they have in common is the aspect of promoting mental health and emphasizing on the preventive measures, right, of health. And also, instead of studying an individual's health, public health focuses on community's health. But public health's main concern is with the preventing of diseases, you see? So let's say, for example, a certain health issue is prevalent among university students. Then public health advocates would conduct campaigns or awareness programs to help eradicate or to reduce that certain health issue. So basically, public health is concerned with changing the behavior of the public or the community in order to lower the incidence rate or the number of cases of a certain disease, and also to reduce the burden that is placed on medical professionals or doctors. So just to add even, after doing a couple of research, I came to find out that public health psychology became a subspecialty in health psychology. And the role of this subspecialty is that they would usually work towards understanding the relationship between emotional and behavioral factors and health issues together, how they're all related. Yeah, and if you're really interested, you can actually explore more about it. And you'll still be within the field of psychology even. Yes, because I think one of the requirements is you need to have a PhD in psychology to become a public health psychologist. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Madam Aicha. That was very inspiring. We will now proceed to the second part for our first session, the life of psychology student. For this part, we will be presenting the pre-recorded video of a group interview with 4 psychology alumni. In this video, they were asked about their experience as psychology students and how a psychology degree has prepared them for their current work. We will now begin the presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much, guys, for joining with me today. So let's go ahead and have basically our panel guests to talk to us about their personal experiences while they were doing degree and various other opportunities. We are going to start with, of course, Miss Nurdiyanah. Miss Nurdiyanah, is it okay if you introduce us a little bit about yourself? I hope you can begin with sharing with us about the year you graduated and your personal experience as a psychology student, including maybe the most memorable lesson, the thing that you miss the most, and the best trait or course of action that you think is definitely fitting to survive in UIA.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Miza, for giving me and giving us the honor to be on this panel. Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm so happy to be here as a psychology alumni from IUM. My name is Nurdiyanah, and I graduated in 2015, February, so a little earlier than these two. The first question, the most memorable thing I would say is definitely at the top of my head, one of the most memorable things that I do remember from my 4 years is being prepared for a lot of research projects, not the projects itself, but more of the panic, the chaos of working with group members and working with your friends to make sure you all work together to get this perfect grade, or else I'm gonna that kind of thing. But one most memorable project was psychology of gender. It was one of my favorite projects of all. It was a movie night analysis, and I remember everything was going perfectly. Everything was going smoothly. We had everything prepared. We got the room sorted out, and it was going great. So what happens is the whole class is divided into groups, and each group had a week to organize a movie night. So we would watch the movie together with the whole class, and then we would do an analysis of the gender issues after that. So everything was going great. And then that day, the night itself that we were supposed to do our movie night analysis, I just decided after class, you know what, I'm going to visit the room and just see if everything's okay, if, the projector, the laptop's all working. So I brought my laptop to the projector, and previously when I tried it, it did work. But on the day itself, it did not work. So I panicked and I immediately called my partners, my group mates, to say, okay, I need all of you to come ASAP and bring all of your laptops. So we tried one laptop after another. For some reason, the laptops just did not want to be compatible with the projector that night, until finally the fourth laptop, we tried it, the sound, the movie was all okay. So that was great. So one memorable lesson that taught me, that I still carry on over to when I started working, is that anything that will go wrong, it can go wrong. So it's always better to prepare for the worst case scenario, always better safe than sorry, because sometimes, some things you can't afford to leave it a chance. Just do your best in preparing for everything. And if things still go wrong, that's fine. Just learn from your mistakes. Just make sure it doesn't happen again. One of the things I miss the most is you don't really realize this until you go off working, but I really miss being able to see my friends on a daily basis, because you kind of take that for granted after you graduate and you start working, because think about it, for the last 20 years of your life, you go to school, you go to college, you go to university, that kind of thing, and you see the same people every day. Some days you get sick of it, oh, I don't want to see your face anymore. But when you actually do not be able to see them every day, you kind of miss that. And it might take a while before you find another social circle once you start working as an adult. Okay, as a student, if there was one lesson I would like to give to all psychology students, the one thing that really helped me survive was being proactive and being disciplined. Because, it's really easy to feel that overwhelming sense of freedom when you're in college, when you're away from your parents, when you don't have anyone to look after you. It's really easy to fall into some really bad habits, like become lazy, you don't need to go to 8 a.m. classes, those kind of things. But I think really help in the long run, especially helps you prepare for the
All right, thank you, Miza. First of all, thank you for having me here, Miza or Hafizah. So I graduated in 2015, right? 2015, and then I think the most memorable experience, apart from what you learn in the class or what you learn in the textbook, or all the articles that you read during your study time, I think the most memorable is the value that you bring back, the value that you carry after your studies. For example, as simple as how to be open-minded to other people's opinion, how to accept their ideas, how to agree, to disagree, and then other thing is like how to respect them. Not only respect them as a person, but also respect their time, respect the things that they did for you or they did for the group, right? Those kind of things. I think the most thing that I miss a lot, honestly, okay, I'm quite surprised I'm gonna say this, is actually the library. The library, not because of the library itself, but because of the library is the place where you have everything, all the resources are there, including your friends, because I think the memory I had at the library was when after all the classes finished, my friends, my group of friends, we're gonna gather at the library, we're gonna do all our things, we're gonna talk or discuss things that we have learned in the class, or do some other things that you want to do. But the environment is something that I miss. And also the social life where I can see my friends every single day. I think with them, and even supper or late dinner, right? Those are the memories that I miss the most, because I don't think we're gonna have that. I mean, as someone who is working, as someone who is working already, I don't think we have that anymore, right? And then I think one thing or one character that you have to survive is actually to accept constructive comments or feedback from others. That is the most important thing. I realized that when I got into my first job, right? So when you come into the job itself, doesn't matter your first job, second job, third job, but in any companies, they just want to see the result. They just want to see, okay, you come and join us, we pay you, we want to see certain result. What can you help us in, improve our business, those kind of things. But in study time, you accept the feedback, you improve, and the lecturers, your friends are willing to help you to improve yourself, So I think those values or those characters that are actually very important for me.
Thank you, Miss Hidayah, to actually share her thoughts, especially as the most recent graduate.
Exactly. Hi, Assalamualaikum, and good morning to everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm Hidayah Sakinah. I'm 24 years old. I just graduated recently. I graduated early this year in January 2021. My batch was the second batch that graduated online. So I get to experience online learning for 2 semesters. I think the thing that I really miss the most is my university life, because the first MCO was announced in March last year, and at that time a new semester just began, and after the order was imposed, everything just like changed in the blink of an eye. Suddenly no more physical classes, suddenly we can no longer meeting our friends, no more dining in at the cafe, no social gatherings. So everyone had to go back to their hometown. So thinking of how I did not get to have a proper goodbye with my usual routines, my friends in UIA, the lectures, the food, that really makes me feel so sad and somewhat in denial. Because in fact, until today pun, I can't believe that it's already over. So I really hope that I could put a proper end to my degree life, having a proper closure with everything. I just best the best trait I believe that was necessary to survive is resilience. Because if you want to survive your degree year or at any point of your life, I recommend you to build up your resilience. Because for those who do not know what resilience is, resilience is the ability to bounce back from hardships and misfortunes. In a simpler way, it's like moving on, carry forward. As students or as human beings, we will face a series of, twists and turns in our life, be it everyday challenge or traumatic event. For example, like failing a subject or subjects, breaking up with your partner, loss of the loved ones. These life-changing and stressful situations they are relatively normal. And what really matters is how we react or respond to. Trust me, it will come in handy. Just be mentally prepared and allow yourself to fall into hardships, to fail a bit, to make mistakes, because that's how you're gonna grow. That's how life is. You won't learn anything if everything is just rainbow and sunshine. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing us on that. Let's go on to the next question. So for the next question, I have Hafizah to answer it first. Would you be able to share with us a bit about your activity right after you graduated?
For me, first, what I did after I graduated, I worked as a research assistant first. Okay, so just to, because I had dilemma, should I work first or should I further my master's? Okay, but when I was working as a research assistant, I also did apply for my master's. So I just thought to myself, if I get the master's, the opportunity to further my master's, I'll just go. If not, I'm just going to continue with my job. That's it. So Alhamdulillah, I went to further my master's right after I graduated. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing us about that. What about you, Hidayah? I'm pretty sure your journey is very much different.
I couldn't figure out what to do after graduated because to be very honest, I could not properly digest what just happened last year with the COVID thing. So I was living like a corpse for the first 2 months after I left the university. It was very unpleasant and tough phase. But Alhamdulillah, after a few months, I started my first part-time job at my current company as a kitchen crew in March, and then I started to sort my life out to sort out my life a bit. But at that time, I was not really into job searching because I already had a part-time job, and my initial plan was to land an actual job after Raya. So in the meantime, I decided to publish my research study, the one that I did for my final year project with my supervisor as co-author, Miss Miza. Alhamdulillah, the paper has been published in June. Yeah.
Thank you so much. What about you, Diana?
Right after I graduated, I actually, thanks to a career, what do you call those? Career fairs. We used to have a lot of those in UIA, right? Thanks to a career fair, I actually found a kind of like an employment boot camp kind of thing that they would open up to fresh graduates. They would actually teach them how to prepare resumes, how to go to an interview, how to present yourself, what to do in an interview, what not to do during an interview. They even taught us how to go to group interviews and how very different it is from a one-on-one. So I thought that was a very useful course, and I advise any fresh graduates, if you are able to go to this kind of course, please do take it because you learn a lot. But after that, thankfully, a friend actually reached out to me saying, hey, UIA just introduced this course for public speaking, and they're teaching foundation students. So if you're not doing anything, why not, try out, because I know you're good at public speaking. So I was like, great, that's fine. And I was really excited for this because it was, I really enjoyed the fact that UIA introduced this course. I thought it was a very useful skill for graduate students to have. So I went in and I did my best teaching for a semester. But right after that, I didn't pursue the lecturing thing because the same friend again, he said, hey, that I am now, and it's the International Congress and Convention Association, or ICA, and alhamdulillah, I really love my job. I enjoy what I do, and I learned a lot. So that's my journey. After graduate, struggles ahead. Be prepared to get a lot of rejections, whether it's for your master's application or whether it's a resume application. Be prepared for a lot of rejections. You're going to get through that before you finally find your place. So that was my experience.
Thank you so much, Diana. So, how about Hidayah? I think like Diana said, every person has a different journey, in terms of like job opportunities, etc. We're going to go to the last question for you guys. Now that you are graduated, you've gone through that journey. What are you doing now? What's your current profession? If you can tell us a little bit more about it.
So I'm currently working as a full-time operation officer at a beverage company. It's called Celsius Coffee. You can check them out on IG. They really make good coffee. It has been 5 months already. When I first started doing operation, I deal with a lot of data and I use a lot of Excel. So if I could mention one specific lesson that I acquired from my psychology degree, I think that would be statistics. But that one is hard skill, very technical, very textbook kind. But I want to add something that I find it very underrated yet significant, meaning to say that I rarely see any working adult talk about it, but it is what I have been experiencing since I started working. For me, psychology degree does not only equip me with knowledge and skills that are needed in order to do the job, for example, like statistics. But in a way, I feel like psychology degree actually prepared me to be a mature working adult who is fit for the world of employment. It prepares me mentally of what's coming, the traits that I acquire through deep understanding of some psychology courses sure do help me to perform better as a working individual. As we all know, in psychology, we learn about behaviors, right? And mental processes. We basically learn about people. And when we are working, human interactions are always there. You can't avoid that. And most importantly, you can never avoid conflicts. But learning psychology brings difference in how we deal with it. I'm gonna put it this way now. When we have better understanding about people, we will be able to perceive, react, and handle the conflict or situations better. And this does not only apply in working setting lah. I can't stress enough how psychology will forever hold relevance in our life. So yeah, I think that's how my psychology degree prepared me for this new chapter of my life. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Hidayah. What about you, Diana? Where are you working right now?
Okay, so I'm the place that I'm working at is called the International Congress and Convention Association. We are a non-profit association. We're not a company. It's not corporate or anything like that. But what we deal with is we're an association that deals with the meetings industry. One of our most promising products is the ICA online database. So our database keeps information about thousands and thousands of international association meetings that take place every year around the world. So as a data research executive, like what I do, we don't do scientific research. The closest kind of research that we do is more of data gathering, data mining, and data input, but also a lot of verification, because we have to verify exactly what these meetings are, what they're about. Like a lot of details are included, especially about whether these meetings, where do they go, how do they rotate, how many delegates do they attract every year, these kind of things. So there's a lot of data involved. And we use the database itself, and we have like our own servers in order to include all this information. So unfortunately, I don't use statistics or Excels like Hidayah does. So actually thinking about it, like there's not much that I can relate back to what I learned in psychology or what I learned during my degree that I can relate to what I'm doing right now. But I think the closest thing that I can pick up is, in terms of cross-cultural psychology, we learn about the psychology between people and between different groups of people and how they may react, how they might behave. So it helped me prepare for that, I guess. So I learned more on the job rather than relating to what I learned back in school to relating to what my profession is now.
Thank you so much, Miss Diana. That's actually really fascinating though. It shows differences, like, in like the most random psychology subject, teaching you how to deal with various people around the world. What about you, Hafizah? What are you doing now?
On my part, actually, I'm currently working in one of the insurance company, Prudential. So I'm working as in one of the departments called Agency Performance Management. So what I did is, what I learned, what psychology have prepared me is the way to adapt and deal with people, to have empathy towards them, to listen first. Those are the things I learned in a counseling psychology class, and other classes as well, where you actually know this type of person, like this type of behavior will cause certain types of result. So those kind of things, not very specific, but they are something that I pick up from the classes where I actually apply in the in my career.
Thank you so much, guys. So basically, you've answered all of my questions, burning questions. So shall we? I would really want to thank you guys for that.
Okay,
So now
okay.
we'll move into a different room to further discuss about our future aspirations and maybe like a bit more about what you want to share, because we have basically students who just came into UIA. They just left high school and they want to know more about psychology. They probably want to know more about the degree life, more than just psychology, probably that degree life that we've experienced. Maybe not, some of us we did it together, some of us did it like during a different time. And I think, how about this, may I start with Sister Hidayah? You said that you had this experience of during the online learning.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically, I think a lot of the students that are basically going to watch us, they want to know about that. They want to know what's different about online class and how do you survive, and then probably like you can just advise them accordingly what you feel is
I personally prefer physical classes over online classes lah, because online classes it's not as much productive as physical classes, because you only you glued to the screen all day, and you will I don't know how to explain this, but it feels more tired if you do online classes rather than physical classes. So if I were to give an advice to you students who just recently enrolled in a degree, I think just prepare yourself mentally lah, because it's draining, very draining.
I truly understand, not for students, but I think for everyone else, especially for parents, for lecturers, of course.
Even working professionals, because okay, so my job deals with the meetings industry, right? Meetings industry. Since the pandemic happened, people have not been able to meet, and these associations, or whether your corporate meetings or business meetings or just association meetings, everyone had to stop meeting physically. And we all thought that, okay, so this is the time of technology. Let's use technology to our best advantage. After a year of using online meetings and using all the latest online platforms, virtual platforms, no matter how sophisticated a platform is, anyone ever talks about is like, oh, I can't wait to meet physically. I can't wait to. Everyone's just sick of it now, but that's unfortunately, that is the life that we have to adapt to. And we have what was called screen fatigue. That's what the research is calling it now. Screen fatigue is because we already work 8 hours a day for working professionals, right? We work 8 hours a day. We're always looking at our laptops and stuff. But it's because of the lack of sensory input. We're not meeting people physically. There's less sensory input, but more cognitive input, because we're always hyper focused. We always have to be there in the moment, in the screen. So that's why it feels so tiring.
I mean, we just have to adapt the new normal. and live with it. Yeah, I mean,
in some cases there are pros, but there are still cons as well. So we have to find the balance between the two.
All right, okay. So can I have your final thoughts? Anything that you would like to say or advise to the new students, as well as, of course, actually all psychology students who are in our department or maybe in various other places right now?
right. When you are still in this study journey, just learn and made a lot of mistakes to actually improve yourself. Like I said earlier, open your mind to receive feedback, constructive feedback, with the intention of improving yourself. Yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you
so much, Fiza. That's wonderful. What about you, Miss Diana?
So like Hafizah and Hidayah also mentioned before this, like your university life is also not just about what you study, like the subjects that you study in your classes, but it's also the lessons that you pick up from the classroom experience, what you learn from your peers, what you learn from your friends, your lecturers, how you communicate, how do you work in a team, how do you, like when you're asked to do a group project with someone that you don't like, in the college, it's very easy to get away with that, I guess. Like you can just ask to swap partners or something like that, or you can just let the lecturer know this partner is not doing their job. But let's say if you're in a working environment and your boss assigns you to work with someone that you don't particularly like, you can't just go to your boss and say, I can't work with this person. You just have to find some way around it. You either like act professional, don't let your like emotional or personal bias get in the way of your work, as long as that work gets done and in a timely manner. Sometimes that's all that matters. And like sometimes being professional doesn't just mean like, oh, I don't like you, I'm not going to work with you. No, like you work together despite your personal preferences or your personal feelings, and I guess one more nugget of wisdom I would say is also take every problem as a challenge. Don't just like think of all the problems coming at once. Like, okay, yes, it's okay to complain. You're totally valid to complain about things when things go wrong. But like it's like, okay, after this, what am I going to do about it? Don't let your psychology degree limit yourself to what you think you can do outside the degree. Like you might think that you're only fit to do certain things because of a degree, but don't let that stop you. You can always find opportunity to do more than you think you can do.
All the best, all the best to the new students. If you ever have problems, just let your lecturer know.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I love how adaptable you are. Despite you had a psychology degree, but you managed to embark on like a different journey and then become adaptable to a new job. Because like no matter what it is, degree prepares you to be a person, hopefully,
Yeah.
Your career in the future could possibly change. You don't know. But it doesn't really matter. What is important is that you make sure that you have a fulfilling moment during your time in degree. Like it's about creating friendship, it's about attending classes, it's about learning how to respect others, it's also about getting all those soft skills. Like there's so many soft skills that they're gonna get from a degree. And then those 4 years or 3 years whichever option that you guys opt for, hopefully it will prepare you, because this is a journey, stepping stone from the high school towards a slightly more adult period. So I thank you. It's been wonderful. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Assalam so much.
Thank you, Sister Sabira, for presenting the video. It was really wonderful to have this chance to listen to their experience of being a psychology student and how a psychology degree has prepared them for their current work. This marks the end of the first session. We will now move on to the second session titled Psychology in Action, My Career. For this second session, it is specially brought to you through a live presentation by our two guest alumni. They will present their profession and future aspirations. Before we listen deeper to their presentation, let me introduce our first invited speaker for today's session, Tuan Haire bin Mohamad Kadari. Tuan Haire is currently a working psychological officer, assistant director at Sri Aman Central Prison, Malaysian Prison Department, and has served for 5 years, starting in 2016. He is also responsible for implementing administration, management, and finance in the department, conducting psychological test evaluations and programs on prisoners, remand detainees, and staff in this department. Apart from that, Tuan Haire is also involved in several important committees, namely Assessment Development Module for the Assessment Center, Public Services Commission of Malaysia, and Panel of Assessors for Administrative and Diplomatic Officers Assessment Center at the National Institute of Public Administration, Kota Samarahan, Sarawak, Intan Bukit Kiara, Kuala Lumpur, and Intan Sungai Petani, Kedah, Public Services Commission of Malaysia. He also serves as a chief editor for a psychology book, Correctional Training Guide, Malaysian Prison Department, a parole evaluation committee, and a trainer for value audit management system at the Public Service Department of Malaysia. Not just that, he has been involved as a panel for development of psychological services inspection at the Ministry of Home Affairs and a panel for prison psychology services quality standards at Malaysian Prison Department. Last but not least, he has been a head coach at Public Service Mentoring Partner at the Public Service Department of Malaysia. In the midst of those, Mr. Haire is also conducting several studies, such as the relationship between physical activity, coping strategies, and mental health among Malaysian adult inmates, in which this study will be included in the Malaysia Correctional Journal. Next, Malaysian Prison Department and the relationship between sleep hygiene, interpersonal communication, and mental health among Malaysian adult inmates. This study has the potential to be presented at the 3rd International Conference on Social Sciences, Education, and Humanities 2022, Cambridge, United Kingdom. Assalamualaikum, Tuan Haire. Pleasure to meet you. How are you today?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for the long introduction from A to Z. All right, thank you so much to the moderator, Ms. Nofariha, and also thank you so much to Ms. Miza for inviting me to be as one of the speakers for this session. Although this session is gonna take like 10 or 15 minutes, is it correct? All right, so move on. Okay, before that, I would like to introduce myself. Okay, my name is Haire. You just call me Haire. Do not call me Tuan. Okay, this is something informal. Let's say if you're from a session, yes, you can just call me Tuan. All right, so I am the psychology officer at Penjara Sri Aman. Penjara Pusat Sri Aman is something like 3 hours drive away from Kuching. And then I've been working here since 2016. So it means like I have like 5 years working here. So I don't want to get moved or transferred to any ministries or department because I do really love to work here with the prisoners, inmates, and also the personals over here. So welcome to the psychology alumni sharing session. So can you type hi to the chat box so that I can see your focus and attention to the session, please? All students, can I see your responses over here? All right, thank you so much for all your sponsors. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. All right, so we do have like 54 participants over here. That's good. So all right. Okay, thank you so much for all your responses. So shall we go to the second slide? So let's say if you have any questions, you just let me know so that I can just address your questions afterwards. So this is something like my professional experiences throughout my journey as a psychology officer. And I do believe that all of you might get interested and to apply these positions in the FTA I-9, right? So this is the chances for you to get prepared based on my experiences. Okay, so we're talking about the professional experiences by myself. I try to divide it into 4 categories, which are the first one is management. All right, the second one is assessment, the third one is interventions, and the last one is research. So I try to explain briefly about all those 4 elements first. Okay, the first one is the management. So I am in charge for the management. This consists of like financial, okay, finance, and also the administration. So I have to settle and I have to manage everything from the payroll and also for the any kind of related to the finance, because we have to follow the rules, okay, as mandated from the Ministry of Finance. Let's say if I do something wrong, so I have take, they will be giving me some like disciplinary actions. I try to avoid that, okay, because it will affect my KPI for this year. So Alhamdulillah, I have no problems with that, because when you're talking about management, it's very strict compared to any other elements that I would like to mention afterwards, because it has the rules that we need to adhere, and we have to follow the rules every time wherever you are, which grade are you, which positions are you in, all right? Okay, so let's move on to the next one is the assessment. Assessment is something like what would you do to evaluate the people of the people's well-being in the department. Since I've been working with the inmates, okay, with that sentence inmates, okay, and also remand inmates, and as well as the personnel. So how can I assess all these people? All right, thank you so much to my assistant for executing all the tasks that I ordered them to do that, so I didn't have any problems with that. All right, and then we're talking about assessments. Yes, according to the Malaysian departments, okay, we do have like we are mandatory to have to do, okay, to assist 6 psychological tools, which are depression, anxiety, and stress scale, big depression inventory, Eureka, it stands for University of Rhode Island Change Assessment Scale. For drug use, we can consider 2 tools, which are drug abuse screening test as well as SSTM, Serenity Status Mental 21. So all these assessments are essential for me in order for them to pass for the pro application. So what do you know and what do you want to know about the pro application? Later I will discuss it to you further. So this assessment is essential. These assessments are essential for me in order for me to know about what are the conditions in terms of depression and also anxiety and stress, or etc. based on what we would like to know. So that is kind of interesting for me, because I would like to know more who they are, especially for the personnel, because I have to manage personnel as well. The total of the personnel under this department, the place they are working right now is 124 personnel, okay, and I have another 2 bosses, which is higher graded than me, and then I have like inmates, consists of like 400 inmates. So how do I cater all these people? So that's the questions later on. I will discuss it further. All right. Moderator, am I talking too fast? Or I think this is okay for you, eh? All right. You have any questions? Let me know. Apa? Okay, kan?
It's doing fine, yeah.
Right. So okay, let's move on. You guys understand, ke? You guys understand what I'm saying right now, or I'm talking too fast? Let's see if you understand. Just say "ho ho" in the chat box. All right. Can I see your response over here? All right. Let's move on to the third one. Is my third professional experience is interventions. Interventions covers everything, especially for the program. So I have to do like another program. Okay. The coming soon program, which will be held in Hilton Kuching. So at the end of this month, and at the end of October. So all this will lead me to be a better leader, because I am managing everything in this organization, and I have to follow the order of the deputy director and also the director. So this kind of experiences will give me a better clear picture of who am I now. I am totally different to what I have been, okay, when I was studying in UAE since 2014. I was graduating in 2014 at UAE. So I know Miss Miza because she is my junior when I was in the last year student in 2014. So I know her just in brief, All right, so I know Encik Iman Karim, I know Miss Aicha Sano, then I know Sister Diana, and also Sister Hafizah Halim Hafiz. Okay, I know all of them because I am the senior in the 2014, so I know some of the junior on that time. All right, so I'm still missing UIA, I'm still missing Babush, all right, and everything. Okay, back to the story. Professional experience, the last one is the research. So right now I've been doing two research that will be done within this year, which is the first is mental health. Both are both the research paper are mental health lah. All right. Okay. Including Mr. Muhammad Iman. Sorry, including Mr. Mohamed Karim Sulaiman. So all of them were my friends during my undergraduate students. Thank you so much. I owe you much. All right. So back to the story, it's about the research. So I've been doing like with a mental health. And the one is interpersonal communications. I have like two research that I have to do within this year and next year. So far, they have any problems with that because I've been collecting more than 200 respondents for each of the prison states in Sarawak. They have like 6 prisons in Sarawak state. So I've been collecting all of them. So I don't have any problems with the data collection. So thank God, Allah give me lots of opportunities to run the data collections very well. So if you guys have any questions on research, or if you would like to collaborate, okay, on the research on the email, you can just let me know. Okay, I will give you my details later on at the final slides later. All right. So any questions so far, or shall we wait for the Q&A sessions afterwards? Miss Shabira, can we accept the Q&A session right now? Okay, maybe later. All right, next one, the next slide. Okay, this is my other professional experiences. Just like Miss Shabira told all of us before this, I am part of the committee of developing the assessment module for the Malaysian Public Service Commission, which is Suruhan Catholic Matan Awam. So I've been doing it for all schemes, including PTD, Pegawai Takbir dan Diplomatic. So this would be give me a challenging work for me because I've been delivering. I was given a trust by the management, especially Suruhanjaya Penerusi, the chairman of the Malaysian Public Service Commission, which is Tan Sri Arpah on that time, to set up an organizing committee to develop the tools and modules for the candidates to be recruited in the government. Right. So this is something that is very important for me and very important to you as well if you would like to be working as a government sector, as a public servant later on. All right. So besides that, I also contributed a lot with the Malaysian department, which is I was selected and I've been chosen, okay, by director of the prison department, okay, to be a chief editor psychology book correction training that it was introduced in 2020. Right now the book is still under printing, so we are waiting for it. If you would like to know more about the book, you can just let me know later on. All right. So besides that, I also be a trainer for the value audit management system, or in Malay, SPAN. Okay, system pengurusan audit nilai, which is very important, okay, to measure organizational and commitments in each of the departments. So since I've been working with the Malaysian Prison Department, so I am one of the committee for the value audit management system, okay, right now. Okay, so I think that's it for me for the other professional experiences. Okay, you have any questions, you just let me know afterwards. All right. Okay, shall we go to the next slide, please, Miss Sabira? Okay, this is quite interesting for me. Okay, why did I mention to you just now is I am very different from now and then for the previous years when I was student in 2014 as the last last semester student. Okay, the first one is leadership skill. Of course, when you're working in the public organization and also the private sector, you have to polish your leadership skill. Okay, how do you inspire people around you? Since I have a lot of subordinates, I have like 134 subordinates, and how do I manage my personnel? Okay, that is the first one. And the second is, how can I manage the inmates' well-being in the prison while they have been incarcerated for selected years in the prison? So this is something like a challenging task for me, and I'm still learning. All right, everyone is learning. Same goes with me. I'm still young, 5 years in service. So I do really hope that 5 years is not enough for me to polish my my leadership skill. So we need to have some more time to develop our leadership skill. Okay. All right. The second one is my English proficiency. Okay. For me, this is quite good, for me, because when you're okay, there's a one time but when we are having like PTD assessment center, okay, assessment center, and then one of the higher authority was telling me, okay, like she is grade 54 PTD, okay, grade 54 was telling me, so which university were you studying before this? Oh, you are, oh my God, you are very good English skills, English proficiency. So I was very proud in that time. So, oh my goodness, thank you so much for your compliment. So everybody is looking at you. Okay, not necessarily you are living as an imam, okay, in UIA, but you are being adored with the people around you, especially your employees, those who are working in the public sector. I'm not sure about the private sector. I think market is okay because everybody is talking in English, I believe. But when you are working in the public sector, you are being a role model for English. All right. So how to improve English, and I would like to propose with the government, I mean my department, in which in every Thursday I would like to inform them that Thursday is the English day. So maybe I will give the proposal later after on. This is a good idea for me lah. All right. All right. Okay. The third one is research skill. Yes, of course. You cannot live without research methodology. You cannot live without lab-based statistics. You cannot live without your SPSS. Until right now, I'm still doing my SPSS. All right, for my research, for the data analysis and so forth. So research skill, you cannot split your life and also research skill. You have to go through, okay, with you. So you cannot separate it anyway. All right. So research skills makes me how to manage my time with the research, and how to manage my time with my management time. So it's something very crucial for me to deliver, so that I can move forward with this kind of things. All right, without more tension. Of course, when you are in the pengurusan and professional level, you are dealing with lots of paperwork. You do lots of statistics. So that's why statistics cannot, okay, live without you. So you have what you have digested in the what you have to digest it once again in the working time. All right, once you graduated from the university. And but last but not least is the critical thinking and problem solving. It's quite interesting for me because we don't have like critical thinking psychology in our classes in the psychology department. We don't have, but this throughout your semester from year 1 until your final semester, this year 4, you can develop your own critical thinking, and which one comes first, you need to settle it. Okay, this is what we call as first in, first out. Okay, and make all the things not make the things a priority. Okay, do not procrastinate your time. 8 to 5 is the working time, so you not go for daily time. You don't have more time to chit chat with your subordinate and whatsoever. Yes, you can. It's just something like my coping skill as well, but it's gonna take a short time for you to do that. So if you're working with the public sector, you, of course, some of people believe that when you as a public sector, okay, orang tu always go and kaki and go to IOMR, okay, go to the PSCC during working time. For me, that is not, okay. We do have like organization committee who is monitoring, okay, all the public sectors, all the public sector and also the workers, okay, employees, okay, during the working time. They have the matawi, they have spy, okay. So if you get caught, you might get, okay, trouble afterwards. All right. So getting back to the critical thinking right now and also problem solving is really related with the leadership skills, because leadership skills and problem solving you cannot miss out. You have to go along further, okay, until you die, until I die. Okay, everything has to be nurtured, all right, and it has to be learned. Okay, I think that's all for me. Okay, is there any other slide after this? Can we go to the next slide? All right, so this is my details. Okay, you can just give me an email. Okay, write down, okay, your what is your inquiries or something else, or you can just call my office number to my PA office. Okay, back to the story. Okay, as a conclusion right now, okay, one more thing that you have to consider in your mind is right now we are having, okay, we are in now dilemma, which is IR 4.0, okay, Industrial Revolution 4.0, which needs all of you possess high related skills. Okay, you can just Google how many skills that is very important, okay, during IR 4.0. Okay, be prepared. Okay, don't be shy. Let's say after you've been graduating from the UIA, you're working as Starbucks bartender. I don't have any problems with that. That is part of the experience. All right. So if you do not wait your desired position, okay, you don't have to wait it until you get it. Time is gold. Okay, time is never left you behind. So you have to chase, okay, all your experience and also your precious time. So do not waste your time. If you have any, like if you have part-time job maybe after graduations at Starbucks as a hotelier, that should be okay. All right, this is part of your professional experience. Do not be too choosy. I don't want to go to Starbucks because that is not my level of standards of working. No, you shouldn't say so, because all of these jobs are halal unless you're doing the not suggested works, then should be the other way around. All right. So believe me, okay, this is what we call as experience for you. Okay, this is very challenging. Okay, since we are in the COVID-19 pandemic, everyone is getting desperate to get working. Unfortunately, some of them might get terminated. So I believe that you also have to develop your own skills. Okay, do not go for waiting. Okay, I really want to go for psychology office. I need to wait for 9 months for me to do that. No, you shouldn't go. You shouldn't go and wait for 9 months. You have to do a lot of things within 9 months, right? So I think that's it for me. If you have any questions, you can just ask me during the Q&A sessions later. All right, I think I pass this floor to Ms. Shabira once again. Thank you so much for your time, and also thank you so much for your lending for your ears throughout this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother Haire, for the wonderful presentation. It was wonderful to listen to your sharing. Next, we will move on to our second invited speaker, Brother Iman Karim. He is an experienced professional working in the media and entertainment industry, currently working at Astro Malaysia. His role includes producing well-loved TV shows and movies for kids, youth, and families. He graduated with a master's degree in organizational and social psychology from the London School of Economics and Political Science and a bachelor's degree in psychology from IIUM. His area of interest lies in industrial, organizational, and business psychology. Such an inspiring background. So let us meet him. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Iman. How are you today?
Salam. Hi, Fariha. Thanks for having me. First and foremost, I just want to say really like a big thanks to the organizers, Miss Miza, for having me. It's still weird to call you Madam or Miss because we were friends and we were studying together at the same time. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here and to talk to students of my beloved IIUM. So much so that I even took leave this morning just to be here with you guys. And it means a lot to be able to share with you guys, especially those of you who are starting their new journey as psychology students in IIU. So thank you very much for having me, and perhaps we can get into it, right? So just to give myself a quick introduction, you can call me Iman. I graduated in psychology from UIA in 2015. Yeah, that's like 6 years ago, man. Oh, such a long time. How time flies. I think this leads into my next point. If you move into the next slide of Sabira, could you please move into the next slide? Yeah, of like my experience as an undergraduate. So the time of studying in university is supposedly the best time of your life. You know, that's what people say. And to me, that experience was true. Like, it really was the best experience of my life. And like, whenever you go back with your friends and you reminisce about all the things that we've done, and with our lecturers, with what we studied, you know, all the classes, the things we used to do, and until now, it's something that you can't get over, right? Like, 4 years will fly by just like that. So make the most of it. Enjoy every moment possible. You know, understand that circumstances are different right now, given COVID, lockdown, but we have to make the most of whatever situation that we have. And this is no different. So like, even working and doing assignments can be a lot of fun, especially if you are working with your friends, your group mates. Just to share with you a particular moment that I remember until now. So when I was in my final year, so my friends and I, we were working on a project and a group assignment for Islam and psychology. So a lot of the people who I worked with were the people who you were speaking, who was speaking just now. For example, we have Hafizah, we have Miss Miza, we have Brother Karimi, who are lecturers in UIA as well. And then now to see them studying together and now they're lecturers in UIA is kind of like surreal. But I remember we were working on this assignment, like the night before submission, we still weren't done. And we stayed up working really late until like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning at Econ's Cafe, just the three of us, just the 4 or 5 of us. And no one else was around. It was silence, and we were doing the work, and we played music. And the song that we played was actually by One Direction, Night Changes. And it's funny because it's how fast the night changes, but it will never change me and you, right? And that's kind of like the thing that we hold on to even until today when we talk about it, you know? So enjoy your time. But when you're in university as well, it's a time of self-discovery. It's a time for you to try as many things as possible. You're an adult. You have the freedom to do what you want. So try as many things as possible. Join many clubs, societies, volunteer, tutor, anything really, and not just bury your head in the books. It's not, you're not at university just to study. You're over there to discover yourself and learn and expand, whether it's in academic or on a professional, on a personal basis. And that will develop you into a holistic individual that's not just academic oriented. So personally, for me, what I've done was, besides studying psychology, like I joined the debate club, for example. And this is also important for me because I wanted to step out of my comfort zone and learn something new. To be honest, like I was like a super shy, quiet guy, especially growing up when I was in school and stuff like that. But I knew that when I wanted to go to university, like I needed to change. I needed to step out of my comfort zone and do something that I know was an area that I needed to improve in. So when I was very shy, didn't speak well, I had stage fright speaking in public. So I joined the debate club to get over that fear. And true enough, I'm gonna tell you this right now, When I tried it, it was super difficult. It was really, really difficult. The first time I joined debate training, I vomited because I was so nervous. I had stage fright that was so bad. I couldn't even speak for 1 minute. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. But after a lot of practice, dedication, I persevered. Like, now I like talking to people. So that's an example of something that I did to improve myself, knowing that that was an area of weakness. And just because it's difficult doesn't mean you should give up. You should persevere and try and until you improved. And whether it's debate or any other society, this can be applied across anything, even in your studies. Like, one of the nightmares for psychology students that you may have heard is the term statistics. And everybody is terrified of statistics. I remember, like, when I first wanted to take statistics, everyone was like saying how difficult it was, how scary it was. And true enough, the lecturers didn't help as well. So in my first class of statistics, the lecturer came in. The first thing he said, no assalamualaikum, no hi. And he was like, half of you will fail, half of you will pass, but most of you will get C's. If you're lucky, you get a B. Maybe one person will get an A, you know? And everyone was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So you can hear the whispers around in class already. And this is something that you hear from your seniors as well. And they talk to you, like, even before you take statistics, that, oh yeah, it's gonna be difficult, it's gonna be difficult. Block all that noise out. That's really important. Your mindset and mentality before going into that determines how well you're already gonna do it. So for me, my mindset was always positive. Like, okay, I'll be that one person who gets the A. Or like, yeah, your experience was difficult, but doesn't mean it will be difficult for me. Or if you know that it will be difficult, you put extra effort into making it even more easy. Understand? Right? So these are the kind of things, whether it's in your studies or your extracurricular activities, do something that challenges you so that you can improve and become more complete as an individual, so that you can be good at everything from your studies to your extracurricular, and that will make you a valuable employee later on and make you very, very employable. But not only that, you're in UIA, right? University Islam Antarabangsa, International Islamic University. So you have the privilege of being surrounded by international students and international lecturers without having to step foot out of the country. Imagine that. Ramai orang, everyone leaves the country to go study overseas to have a different experience. But we don't have that. We don't need to, because when you look around, you have Miss Aicha, who was from Guinea, speaking to you. You have lecturers from overseas. You have friends and classmates from overseas who are sitting next to you, and you work with them in group assignments and stuff like that. Learn from them, make friends with them. These are the most important things that makes UIA or IIUM stand out from any other public university. If you go to UITM, like, you'll probably find the same demographic of students. For example, would you have any international students there? Unlikely. Or any other public universities? Be very, very few. So make the most of the opportunity. Make friends from all over the world. Don't be shy. You know, go and talk and interact with them, engage and learn from them, what their culture is like, what it's like to be from their country, and so on and so forth. That's very, very important. And you have that privilege that not many other people do. You know, not only that, I have some bonus tips as well. Like, be proud that you are a UIA/IIU student. Like, I'm going to tell you this right now. You know, since I did my master's in London, to be honest, like, I was actually very, very nervous because, like, I wasn't sure if studying psychology in UIA prepared me enough for that level up to study in London doing masters. I was scared. And when I was there, like, my fears were even like cemented because, like, you see people from all over the world. I had, like, in my class, someone who interned at the White House, someone who was already a CEO of their company. And who was I? I just studied my degree. I just freshly studied of my undergraduate and I went to do my master's there, you know? But I remember one class, the lecturer was like, can anybody tell me what the IAT is? And I was like writing notes and I just like raised my hand. And then when I looked up, everybody was looking at me. I was like, and then the lecturer was like, oh, okay. what is it? And I was like, alamak, is it what I think it is, or is it something completely different? So I hesitantly said, is it the implicit association test? And then they were surprised. How did you know? Oh, I learned that in university. Where did you study? I studied in IIUM in Malaysia. Wow, okay, that's very high level. That's like a PhD or master's level already. And everyone was like, whoa, 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 whoa. So from that moment, like, I had confidence that, hey, you know what? UIA prepared me for this. It's an internationally recognized university where it's equipped with great lecturers, great educators who can prepare you for the world. And never forget that. Be proud of where you come from and where you are. And inshallah, it will stand you in good state in the future as well. Last but not least, also, university is the time where you make friends for life. Like Miss Miza, we've been friends since university, since degree, since CFS even. We have Miss Diana, we have Miss Hafizah, and a lot of my other friends who are here as well on the call. And we're just talking about how we're reminiscing through our good times together. And this is the place where you make your friends. So enjoy this time, yeah? All right, next slide, please. So for me, when I graduated, these were my 3 steps to figuring out what I wanted to do. Number 1 was to set a goal. What's next? Like, do you want to work? Do you want to study? Number 2, keep yourself occupied and not just sit around waiting for that to happen, but do something in the meantime. And number 3, you find your passion in terms of finding out what you love doing. And then that can be something that you do moving forward, right? So for me, I knew that I wanted to further my master's immediately after my degree, but I graduated in 2015, July, and my master's program started in September 2015. So I had 3 months in between. I didn't just laze around. Some of you may know that I was lecturing in CFS along with Miss Diana as well as Brother Karimi, where I taught public speaking, and taught CFS students social studies and stuff like that, So I found that through that experience that teaching was one of my passions. Whether it was teaching about social studies, about public speaking, but I love teaching and talking to the youth in general, which is why I'm here today as well. And even until now in my career, where I am able to educate and engage with youth, with kids, and it's something that I really love doing. So it's from doing these many things that we figure out what we like and what we don't like. And that's important because, yeah, you can join many societies, you can join many activities, and you can identify the things that you like. Okay, so this is what I like doing, and I want to do this for the future. Or these are the things that I dislike. So I know for a fact that in the future, this is something that I don't want to do. It helps. Every experience helps, and community, as a collective, these experiences will help you in your future career and figure out what you want to do. And it's okay if you don't know what you like, but the most important thing is for you to try as much as possible. Yep. Next slide, please. So as for my current work, I'm currently working at Astro as a content producer and partnership specialist. So for those of you who don't know what that means is, in a nutshell, I basically make movies and TV shows, right? So on TV shows, on YouTube and stuff like that, and social media. And I work with a lot of brands where we collaborate and come up with advertising campaigns for them. For those of you who don't know, if you've heard of Oh My English, yeah. So we are the department or the team that's responsible for creating Oh My English. So we create content that's not only entertaining, but also is meaningful and gives benefit to the society, to kids, and that's my department. We are called Gen Next, which is short for the next generation. And think of us as the Malaysian Disney. Yeah. So we've worked with a lot of brands and projects, and some of my past work include, in the next slide, please. These are some of my past work from TV shows, movies, music videos. You can check it out on YouTube. And these are some of my past work. And even though my degree in psychology is not directly related to what I'm doing now, like for me, psychology has always been a passion of mine, like learning about other people. I never saw it as a career, and that's okay. That's okay. When I was younger, I followed my mom to one of her business events, and I spoke to one of her colleagues, and he asked me what I was studying, and I told him I was doing psychology. Oh, okay, why psychology? And I didn't know, right? I was just doing it because I liked it, you know, which wasn't wrong. But he told me that, okay, in whatever you do, whatever you're studying, and whatever you're working as, the most important thing in business is to establish relationships with people. Because when you have relationships with people, then when people like you, they'll buy from you. You can get jobs, you can build relationships, build connections, network. So for me, my psychology degree was my key to understanding people so that I can build relationships with them. So that's how I focused my thinking into why psychology was right for me until today. And if that's the same for you, then that's great as well. But for me, the most important thing is you have to love what you do and do what you love. Because when you love what you do, you will spend time and effort into it. And when you spend time and effort into it, you will get good at it. And when you are good at it, that's when people will look for you. You don't have to look for opportunities. Like opportunities will come to you, inshallah. Like I never applied at Astro. I didn't know I wanted to be in the media industry. But alhamdulillah, as a result of my qualifications and my good grades, then they came looking for me. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll try this out. And turns out, fast forward 4 years later, I'm still doing the job that I love in the company that I love. Yeah. So even though you don't know what you want to do right now, or don't know what you'll be in the future, focus on what you're at, where you're at in the present, and make the most of it and do your best. Yeah. Next slide, please. So for me, like I consider myself to be a very ambitious person. Whether I achieve my ambitions or not is a completely different story. But these are my 3 aspirations for the future. Everybody who knows me, my friends, my family knows that I love Disney. Growing up as a kid, my favorite programs, Aladdin, Hercules, Mulan, has influenced me the way I think and the way I was brought up. And for me, that was a really powerful tool to connect with other people around the world and even in Malaysia. So when you were a kid, like in school, you talk to your friends about what? Oh yeah, did you watch the show? Oh my God, I love this show. Then you became friends as a result, you know? So that was something that connected kids, connected people together. And growing up, even now, like when I have friends from all over the world, High School Musical, for example, is something that we connected on. It's something that was close to my heart, and it was something that someone millions of miles away can also connect with. And I find that that's why Disney for me is so special, and I want to work there one day because it's given me so much, and I want to be able to share and create the magic, which is why right now in Astro, I'm doing something similar in the sense that I get to create content for kids, youth, and families so that hopefully when they grow up, like these are the shows that they talked about. And when they grow up to my age, oh wait, did you watch SMK? Did you watch Salam Squad? Did you watch all these? It's like, yeah. And that's why I want to work at Disney one day, hopefully, inshallah. Secondly, if that doesn't work out, I also want to have my own business, my own media agency. Given my experience in creating advertising campaigns for big brands and clients, I want to do the same thing as well, given my experience and clientele already working with big brands, such as Drypers, Maxis, Lego, so on and so forth. And thirdly, I also want to be a lifestyle influencer in the sense that I want to teach men on like a 360 on their lifestyle, from personal finance, from fashion to careers, and giving tips on how to improve yourself so that they can unlock their full potential. So perhaps in YouTube or Instagram one day, we'll see how that goes. But these are some of my aspirations that I look forward to in the future, and hopefully we can achieve at least one of these 3 things. If all 3 will be the best. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah. So like one of the big questions that I get as a psychology graduate is that, a lot of people not really question like having a psychology degree, or you're just going to be a counselor, or you're just going to work in school, you're just going to, be a mental health clinician. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. As I've shown you, like I'm not doing that. But also like psychology as a course is very employable because it teaches you these important soft skills. Like number one, research skills, because every company now is going into data, especially in this 21st century where technology is important. Everyone wants to look at data, numbers, data, identify, do research. So in psychology, where you're doing a lot of surveys, when you're doing a lot of focus group, conducting interviews to the public, that's something, and that's a skill that a lot of employers look for. Number two, presentation skills. In psychology, you'll be doing lots of presentations, which is great because it builds your confidence so that you can speak well and communicate ideas to people very effectively and efficiently. And this is something that you probably don't get as much focus in other courses, where you can see a difference in people from other courses where their courses are more technical. They don't focus on these kind of soft skills, for example. Not only that, but communication skills, right? As a result of your presentation, your group work, you improve your communication skills, and having clear communication is important when you have your interviews, and then they see how you speak. That's the first impression that you have towards your employers. And the course itself is universally applicable because like it's talking about understanding human beings. In every job, you have to deal with people, so across the board, there's so many opportunities that people don't see, but I'm just here to share with you that there are so many opportunities for you. And even like the previous speakers from Miss Nurdiyanah, Miss Hafizah, Haire, you can either work in your own psychology fields that's relevant, or you can do something different. And you can do whatever you want. Basically, you are the pilot of your own life. I remember one time when I was studying, when I graduated, like after my final exam, I was clearing out my dorm, my mahala, and I wanted to get rid of my books. So I immediately like posted on Facebook, hey guys, anybody want to buy my psychology textbook? And then someone commented like, one does not simply become a psychologist by selling all their psychology textbooks. And I was like, what if I don't want to be a psychologist? Then he's like, then why do you waste your time studying psychology? Who said I wasted my time? So basically, in a nutshell, don't let other people say what you can or cannot do. You are the pilot of your own life. You choose what you want and be good at what you do. And that's the most important thing. Love and be good at it. Yeah, there you go. Next slide, please. So that's it for me today. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Don't hesitate. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about anything, whether it's about future careers, possible internships in the future with Astro, or any advice on academics, on how to survive psychology in UIA, so on and so forth. What Miss Miza likes so that she can give you a better grade if she's your lecturer. Stuff like that. So I'll be more than happy to help you in any way I can. Thank you very much, guys, for the time. Appreciate it. Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you, Brother Iman. That was a very great presentation. Now, I'm sure that all of you are excited to know more about them. We will now open the floor for a Q&A session. You can raise your hand by using the hand raise reaction in the chat box, and our committee will help to unmute your microphone. After that, you can mention your name and forward your question to any of the speakers, or you can also state your question in the chat box and I will be reading it for you.
Don't be shy. Come say hi.
There was one question for Brother Haire from Sister Hafika. She asked, could I know your path or process in becoming a psychologist in governmental sector? Would it be hard to get it through?
All right, thank you so much for that question. I really love that question, actually. So When if you would like to apply for the psychology officer, you need to apply through SPAI 9, okay, because the government honestly is no longer use SPAI Act. Okay, they're improving the network systems and also the system and also the ICT on the website. So they just use the SPAI 9. So if you successfully log in to the system, you need to drag psychology officer, all right, to the desired job you would like to apply for. So that is the first straight up process. The second process is the personality, or what we can say the psychometric test, which consists of three parts. The first one is general questions that are related to the psychology. And the second one is your personality. All right. And the third one is your problem solving skills. So all these three, in order for you to pass for the next stage with these interview sessions with Dato and Dadina team, then you need to pass for the second stage first. All right. So if you pass for the second stage and you go for interview, and if you pass for the interview, welcome to the psychology officer at the Public Service Department of Malaysia. All right. Thank you. Any questions? Any other questions so far?
Maybe if it's okay for me to ask a question actually. Assalamualaikum. Thank you to our guest speakers here, the Iman as well as Brother Haire, for joining us today. I actually have a question about your journal, Brother Haire. Regarding your journal, could you tell us a little bit more about it, about the correctional journal, and what's your opinion about correctional system in Malaysia, and if any of our students wants to join you, what can they contribute to that field as well?
All right. So thank you so much for that questions. I think it's related to the policy of the department. So let's say if you are contributing, okay, a research to the Prison Department of Malaysia, you are contributing to the well-being of the inmates actually, because the research findings of the research they have done so far will be discussed to the top management of the Prison Department of Malaysia, whether or not, or it can be really effective or not about the result of the findings can be enacted through the policy that will be used for the Department of Malaysia. I think if we don't have any harms for that, you cannot change the statistics, you cannot change the research result, and this result will imply the effectiveness of the policy that have been one of the policy in the Prison Department of Malaysia. So if you would like to join more on the Malaysian correctional journals, okay, you can ask me and we will guide you further more on this. Okay, you don't have any problems with it, and you don't have to be shy. If you have any questions, just let me know through my email. All right. Okay, thank you so much for that question. Am I addressing your question, Ms. Sabira?
Thank you. I think there's another question.
All right. Okay.
There's another question by Sister Iman. Any of the guest speakers can answer. She asked, is soft skills really important?
Yeah, I can take this one. Assalamualaikum. Hi, Iman. Very nice question you have. Close name, Iman. Oh my God. Anyway, so yes, to answer your questions, yes, soft skills are very, very important. I would say that it's even more important than the actual thing that you learn in like your course in university. Like it's more important. So if we look into the landscape of jobs and companies in this day and age, where companies are less looking at what you studied, but looking at how you carry yourself. Like having a degree in something is just to open the front door. But after that, you have to do the talking. You have to present yourself. You have to carry yourself in a positive way that, hey, this person is good. This person is smart, got brain. You know, it's not about, oh yeah, this person studied psychology, this person studied this. Because I'm going to tell you right now, like in my batch, when I first got hired at Astro, the bunch of 5 people that I was close with, masuk, like I was the only psychology grad. Another one studied geophysics, the science of rocks, like stones. What does that have to do with media? Right? Another person studied English literature. Another person studied neurophysics, neuroscience. What does that have to do with it? So we don't really look at what you studied, because chances are you're not going to apply it anyway, unless you're doing like a particularly professional course like law, accountancy, engineering, where you need these technical skills to perform in your daily tasks and your functions. But that doesn't mean that just because you studied law, all you're going to be is a lawyer. You can do other things as well, right? When you look at a course that you're taking inside, like in university, it's not so much about what you're studying, it's about the soft skills behind it. So, for example, studying law allows you to look at things in more detail because you have to read a lot. You have to remember the facts. Psychology is about communication, presentation, for example. You know, these are the things behind each course that people don't really look at much, but these are more important things behind these courses. And not only if you study these courses, you will get the soft skills. You cannot rely on that alone. You have to try and do extracurricular activities juga, yeah, to strengthen and also try something new. For example, let's just say that psychology, yeah, is good at improving your communication and presentation skills, but maybe it's not giving you enough analytical skills. Then you have to involve yourself in other extracurricular activities or other societies or other clubs that gives you that skill that you currently don't have, so that you can have everything, you know. So don't let what people say, oh, you're studying psychology, you're just going to be this. Don't let people say, oh, you're going to, what are you going to be when you, doesn't really matter. Just focus on yourself and the skills that you develop along the way. And that's something that inshallah will be the most beneficial thing for you. Like even right now, if you go to Astro's career website, astro.com.my/careers. Hi, Assalamualaikum, Dr. Shuk. Very nice to have you here. If you go to Astro's career website, astro.com.my/careers, then if you scroll down and the testimony of all the new fresh graduates that joined, at least 3 or 4 of them are psychology students already. Psychology is a very employable field. Very, very employable field. Especially if you're from UIA and you've studied under Dr. Shukran. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much for asking the question. Oh, Karim.
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Shukran. Welcome to the session. Wait, let me make you... allow me to ask you to unmute.
Thank you, Miza. Thank you, Iman. Thank you, Haire. Thank you, Aicha. Who else? Fiza.
Sister Diana as well as Sister Hidayah.
Yes, well. Thank you, Hidayah.
Do you have any questions for our fellow guests, especially Brother Iman as well, and Mr. Haire over here?
For the audience, right? Yes. Please ask them questions.
Fariha, back to you. I think there are several questions in the chat section that we can address. There's quite a lot coming in now.
There's one question from Brother Iman from Sister Micah. She asked, was the learning lifestyle a big change from IIUM degree to your LSE Masters? If yes, how did you adapt to it?
You want the honest answer or you want the professional, politically correct answer? I'm kidding. It was a change. It was a change. So for me, like I think Dr. Shukran can attest that back when I was studying in UIA, I was actually like, I mean, all my friends here can also attest that I was very like ambitious student, and I worked really hard. And I worked really hard when I was in UIA. And I felt that UIA has, honestly, it's one of the best decisions to come to UIA. Is one of the best decisions ever in my life. And I stand by that today. And it's something that I tell everyone, really, truly, because of all the experiences that I've gained, everything that I've learned from my respected lecturers and the friends that I've made who are still friends until today. I've learned so much and I've grown as an individual, academically, also on a personal basis. And when I work hard and I studied in UIA, I felt that I've achieved my maximum growth potential. And when I wanted to study my master's, I considered doing my master's in UIA as well. But I thought that since I learned so much already in UIA, to further my growth, I needed a new environment. I needed a change of scenery. So it was a scary change. But again, relating to my point earlier in the slides, saying that we have to step out of our comfort zone. We have to step out of our comfort zone. We have to do things that scare us because we are not familiar with it. What's the outcome? What's it going to be like? And only through this change can we only grow. So I tried to adapt myself in the same way that I studied because it has been successful in UIA. So I adapted and I implemented that when I was doing my master's. So academically, that was also successful. Honestly, if you want to go study overseas, academically in UIA and LSE, summer, it's the same. It's the same. Like these are the same textbooks that we use. We are using the same lecturers, like in the sense that we are teaching the same thing, but the only difference is the environment that you are learning in, that you are in a different country. So you have to manage yourself personally. So if you want to go study abroad because it's a better university, I think that's a myth. But because so academically, you can just do the same thing and apply the same lessons. It's the difference is in the environment and how you manage yourself. So maybe I was even more comfortable in Malaysia studying here because I can just go back to my parents' house like 45 minutes away, you know, do my laundry there and then come back. So I didn't have to worry about financial management. I didn't have to worry about being in a new culture, where to pray, what to eat, stuff like that, you know. But these are the things that you have to take into consideration. So about LSE, the adapting doesn't come academically, it comes in how you live that new lifestyle in the new environment. Thank you.
There's also another question from Brother Iman by Sister Sheila. How and where did you apply for a master degree in London? Is it self-sponsored or is there any scholarships for psychology graduate?
Thank you for the question. To give a full answer would be very long. So if you want, perhaps I, can give you the email address shown earlier, and then we can talk about it in depth. But for me, I started applying for my master's in my final year of studies because the application process is very long. For me, I applied for a MARA loan. At the time because scholarships weren't available as a result of the economy. That was the first year that MARA stopped all scholarships, and it was the year that they only gave 100% loans, unfortunately. But you perform well, then they will reduce the term of your loan. And so that was extra motivation for me to study hard and get good grades so that my loan can be converted into a scholarship. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for answering the question. There's a question for Brother Haire from Sister Sheila. She asked, what is the most tough situation that you need to deal as a psychology officer?
Thank you so much, Ms. Sheila Shahira, for that question. So for my past experience as a psychology officer in the correctional setting, I can see that there's one time I made a session with the death sentence inmate, Banduan Haire. Okay, Banu Haire. So after he went to the judge at the Mahkamah Tinggi, High Court in Sri Aman, he was in just hiding denial. He didn't admit he did it, even though I have done so many sessions. He does something like 5 sessions, okay, from 2019 until 2020. He requested me to meet me in the room, okay, in the counseling room for have 5 sessions. So one session, okay, I spent like an hour. He always talk about his life and he doesn't want to talk to anyone else because he assumed that another officer or another personnel in working in the prison department in my office is not his level. Okay, he was graduating as a master in pharmacy in the UK. So he was he was beheading. He was beheaded his wife to get the money because he wants to claim to the insurance. So can you imagine that? This case was happened in 2018 after Chinese New Year. So all the all now I was very scared at first when I was talking to him. I think he's normal like us. They need just more attention because they know who we are as a psychology officer. So they would like to express the emotion. So I try to layan the emotions, and sometimes he talk about Islam, and then sometimes he talk about how would how can I think I still remember there's one time he would like to commit suicide in the prison, and I said to him, why you want to do that? So there's a lot of like questions that he was asking me. So alhamdulillah, I have no problems with that. And then I think he's gonna waiting for the death sentence maybe for the next few years. Okay, and then later on he still high in denial, okay, until he transfer, okay, from penjara pusat Sri Aman to penjara Sibu because he would like to see and he would like to meet his kids um, before the death sentence will be conducted later on. It's not that easy, and to be a death sentence inmate because they need to go for several processes and it's gonna take a long time. And they don't even know when is the date for them to go for the death sentence, right? So this client was under section 302, is section 02 with death penalty. So there's no excuse on that. So it is was conducted in the High Court. Okay, there is no appeal given by him. Okay, the judge will ask him, okay, to go for the death sentence. No more excuse and no more appeal after that. So that would be a challenging task for me. That would be how can I say the the best, not for the best experience, like something like the precious experience me as a psychology officer in this department. So I think that's it. So you have any questions so far? Or do I okay, good. But it's okay. Or you want to have another session as a psychology officer maybe after this? The whole day. I have a lot of experiences, but since we have like limited time, so I will try to make it as a try to discuss and try to explain to you just only fundamental issues or the basic issue that I would like to share after this. So if you would like to organize another time for this, yes, I have no problems with that. You can arrange with Miss Nizala after this. All right, okay, Miss Niza.
You want me to respond? Of course. We'll be happy to have you, both of you again.
All right, thank you everyone for the great questions. Due to the time constraint, we're not able to cater all. Thus, if you still have more questions to ask, you may ask it through their email or any of their social media that has been stated. I hope that's okay for the guest speakers. If it's okay, could Brother Haire and Brother Iman share their email or the social media in the chat box for the students to know how to reach you? I would like to say thank you in advance. Before we end our sharing session today, I would like to invite the guest speakers to share some of their last remarks or concluding remarks of today's session. Let's begin with Brother Haire first.
Can you explain once again? I cannot hear you just now.
Would you state your last remarks or concluding remarks
Oh,
for
all right. Yeah, conclusion. All right, that's good. I love this. Okay, all in all, okay, just what I have said just now on the first session a few minutes ago, IR 4.0 is in the era right now. So we are struggling with lots of things and challenges right now. So it is much more possible if you try to polish, okay, any skills that are useful during IR 4.0. IR stands for industrial revolution 4.0. Okay, it will affect everyone. So I believe, okay, all of you, okay, wahai anak muda sekalian, do not go for chasing for Instagram poster sana posting or whatsoever. Okay, just focus what is your strongest skill that you would like to polish, and that's it. So try to be a good student. Okay, please respect your lecturers. Okay, because when you have a very nice respectful and respect and also conscientiousness the lecturers, I think your life will be much more easier. Okay, I think that's it from me. Okay, I'll pass this floor to Brother Iman. Brother Iman, please have your say.
Thanks, Haire. Yeah, just to add on to what Haire mentioned just now, in a nutshell, time at your university is the best time in your life. So enjoy it, make the most of it. Not just like party or like enjoy, but like take this opportunity with both hands. It's the time where you have your freedom. Because after this, when you start work and you have other responsibilities, commitments, then your time is gonna be limited. It's tough to even meet my friends nowadays, not just because COVID and stuff like that, but the important thing is for you to make the most of this opportunity by like learning a new skill, finding what you love, and trying out many different things that can direct you in guiding you what you want to do in the future. That's pretty much it.
Thank you so much, Brother Haire and Brother Iman. Now we have reached the end of our sharing session. Before we end, I would like to invite Professor Shukran to deliver his words to us.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for unmuting me and inviting me to say a few words. Thank you to Sister Miza for presiding this session. To all academics, thank you for joining, and to all my ex-students, thank you so much for coming back. This is hopefully a first homecoming session. We look forward to having you in physical form actually, but this COVID-19 doesn't allow us to bring you back. But in the pipeline, we wish to bring our alumni to classes as well. Hopefully, when we meet all students face-to-face in semester 2, hopefully, we can have all lecturers bringing one alumnus at least to their class, at least once in a semester. Right? So we look forward to having Haire, Iman, who else? Nurdiyanah, Hafizah, Aicha back to their alma mater and share their great experience with the juniors. Right? So juniors, please be enthused by your great seniors here. I enjoyed myself teaching them, and I look forward to having the same feeling when I come to your class later on. Okay, so thank you very much again, and thank you very much to site staff for organizing this. Right, so jazakallah khairan katsira. Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you, Professor Shukran. Once again, we would like to thank all of the guest speakers for their wonderful sharing for this Ecology Alumni Sharing Session. We hope their experiences and sharing will inspire all of us to strive to become better individuals, and we hope to achieve as much as they did. We would also like to thank Professor Shukran, the academic members of the Department of Psychology, and the rest of the students for joining us in our sharing session today. We hope it was a fruitful and beneficial sharing for all of us, and we apologize for any of our shortcomings. Before we end, let's take a photo to commemorate this moment. To all the participants, please turn on your camera if it's possible. Ms. Fiza, you may lead the session.
Right, thank you. So I would like to ask everyone, take your time. All right, so the thing is there's several pages. So therefore, just smile all the way for about 1 minute, 2 minutes. And be ready to basically say hi. I'll wait for a bit. I think there are a couple of people still waiting. All right. Thank you to the Madam MC once again. Thank you, Prof. Shukran, for joining us. It's wonderful to see all our students here. So I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, keep smiling because we have more coming in. So 1, 2, 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, once more, just one moment. All right, okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miza. Once again, thank you everyone for participating. Before we disperse, I would like to remind the participants to fill in the attendance form that has been sent in the chat box if you haven't. With that, let us all end with Tasbih Kafara and Surah Al-As. Thank you and Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wassalam.